Y'all ain't got to sit in the back if you don't want to. The way this presentation is going to work, I got a lot of free stuff. So you're going to need your phone out and to be ready to scan these codes. Tons of free stuff to give to you. Because at some point, somebody helped me along the way and to get me where I am right now. So yeah, just have your phones out and ready. And if you have any questions, you got just holler out and we'll get you taken care of. My name is Coach William Fly. We were kind of talking about, he's a North Carolina guy, and then now he's in my home. I grew up in Suffolk, Virginia. Went to Kingsburg High School. So kind of bonding over that. But I'm at Mallard Creek High School in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I am the Director of Athletic Performance. If you need to take a picture of this is all my contact info, phone numbers, email, social medias. By all means, write it down, take it, save it. Anything you need, I'm a phone call away. And then I'm not sure if any of you venture towards Charlotte. I think AFCA is coming to Charlotte. So if you are a part of AFCA, you want to go to the big clinic, by all means, you can swing on by Mallard Creek and we'll take care of you. A lot of thank yous of people that have gotten me to where I am right now. I'll probably go through this whole list. They'd take the entire presentation. But really, these folks are here underlined. He probably knows this. Is anybody from North Carolina? Where's James River at? Roanoke area. So probably like at your school to where all those PE spots are reserved for what? Coaches, football coaches, right? And so you'll see my history where for 10 years, I was just like you. I coach OL, DL. I'm the guy cussing out huddle on the phone. I'm the guy sitting there punching headsets, making sure they work. But these four gentlemen that are on the screen that are underlined took a tremendously big risk. And they said, hey, we want a full-time strength coach. And we don't want you to coach anything. And so they made it happen to where, hey, this PE spot is like untouchable. We're going to save this for a strength coach. And they made it happen. So I'm very grateful for these four guys to where I'm one of 5 full-time strength coaches in North Carolina. So I'm definitely not the norm by any means. We're trying to provide a master experience for our kids. And we have time, the teams that we play, we have to be able to put our kids in positions to win, especially the teams that we have to play. This year we played 2 teams out of Georgia. Game 1 is Prince Avenue Christian. And then week 2, we played Cardinal Gibbons in Raleigh. Week 3, we played Grayson. And the past 2 years, we've had to play Buford, which is a juggernaut out of Georgia. So that's the teams that we have to play against, So we're trying to get our kids ready to match that level of competition. A lot of times you go over like, what is my why? Why are you here up at 8 o'clock in the morning listening to some guy from Charlotte talk about weight room stuff? So the reason why, I drove from Charlotte all the way up here and try to, survive y'all's traffic, are these folks up here. So like you see in my previous life, being a football coach in all these different places, I'm a lineman. So like I have a tremendous bond with anybody that coaches offensive line, defensive line. My kids are the reason why I'm here. They make me look tremendously good because they're able to do a lot of cool things. My strength coach family on this side, to where I am who I am because of these people that are on this left side of the screen. We actually had a conference on a cruise boat. So that was my wife's first experience of a coaching clinic. But now she thinks that's how all clinics should be, on a boat. Unfortunately, that don't happen a lot. So that's how my wife got, that's how she got immersed into hey, what coaching is and stuff like that. And then this obviously is a picture of my wife and my little girl. She's 2 years old. There's a picture of her at our field, taking over and running the entire place. Let's talk about my coaching journey. In a previous life, for about 10, 11 years, I coached football just like you. Where I started off at Richmond Senior High School in Rockingham, North Carolina, where I coached JVDL, I was the JVDC, JV head coach, and I actually started teaching wise. I taught elementary school PE. I did that for 4 years. I think that's kind of actually helped me being able to teach some of the small details. Has anybody ever had to teach a first grader how to skip? It's trying. So having to break things as simple as they can be to a first grader has helped me tons in terms of coaching D-line, coaching offensive line. Really taught a lot of patience. Was at Richland County for 5 years, and then went to North Mecklenburg and Huntersville, which is the top part of Charlotte. There, I went back to offense, which is where I played in college. There's offensive line, JV head coach, JVOC, technology guy, and I was a strength coach there as well. And COVID happened, and we said, hey, what better opportunity to now switch jobs during COVID? That's smart. So we went to Northwest Cabarrus in Concord, to where we transitioned and installed an entire offense on Zoom, which was miserable. So there I was offensive line coach, assistant head coach, special teams coordinator, and I ran the weight room for the entire school during the school day. And I would write programs for all the teams. I wouldn't directly run them after school. It'd be like, hey, coach, here's your program. Good luck. Then, like I said, the opportunity came up to go to Mallard Creek, where I'm the first ever full-time strength coach at Mallard Creek High School, to where right now we train up to 16 sports. Now we football, basketball, track, wrestling, volleyball, softball, I said wrestling, cheerleading, tennis, and we just added flag football like 2-3 years ago. So we train our flag football girls. And also on the side, I am the youth athlete head coach at a private facility called Discover Fitness. That is in Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm not going to read this to you, but this is kind of how I envision things going at Mallard Creek. We have a promised land that kind of goes with a mission statement a little bit. So promised land's a little bit different than like a mission statement or a creed or anything like that, to where that's a desirable but difficult to achieve future that we hope to make real for those that follow us. So our promised land at Mallard Creek, we want to break the mold and prove to others something that was thought to be impossible in all aspects of life. We want students to achieve the impossible athletically, economically, and socially, so that they can be ready to thrive in their next normal. And you'll see our mission statement, and we're really going to pin down to these 3 things that are in parentheses. We want our kids to live true to themselves, to create connection with others, and to pursue excellence in their own unique way. You see our philosophy, our vision statement. Obviously, I'm not going to read that to you. Actually, at the end, there'll be a link for you to sign up to get this entire presentation. So don't worry about taking pictures or anything like that. You'll get this whole thing before you leave. If you don't get anything else from today, I live and die by this chart. This is kind of like I call it our attitude spectrum. And you can apply it to anything that you want. If I can send you, I did this on Canva. So you want this, you want to change out the pictures in the back, by all means you can do that. But this is how we evaluate effort in the weight room or in our training. Our football coach has actually taken this and brought it into within the culture of our football program. And it's 5 simple words: resistant, reluctant, compliant, committed, and compelled. And at the top, we've tied in things that kids understand: losing average, winning, and championship level effort. We use this for a variety of things. No, I'll actually grade our kids at the end of the semester, so that way our coach knows, hey, where do these kids stand? At least in my eyes. No, are they compliant? Do they do what is asked? No more, no less. And a lot of times, if you grade these kids with this, the kids that are reluctant and resistant, those kids probably don't do what? They're probably not playing. They're probably not touching the field. Weight room wise, they're probably the kids that are not seeing any results. They're not getting better. And honestly, in terms of an offer standpoint, kids that are resistant and reluctant aren't getting any looks, aren't getting any offers. I mean, there's direct correlation to where we evaluate these kids. And in terms of assigning programs or like workouts, I will not assign anything cool or fancy in their eyes if they are below compliant. So if a kid is resistant or reluctant, I'm going to train you. You're going to work out, but you're going to get swole and you're going to get strong doing push-ups. I'm not putting the bar in your hands. My first block is 90 kids. I don't have time to sit there and babysit little Johnny who wants to be a ding dong and can't get right. You can't get right. Hey, here's a sandbag. I'm gonna get you ready. You're gonna get 100, but get out of the way and don't ruin the experience for folks that are committed. And going this way on the spectrum, we really try to get the kids that are committed to really level up those that are around them and pull them up to their level, making them compelled, which is obviously what we want all of our kids to be. Compelled is doing what is asked, going above and beyond, hold themselves to a high standard, and bringing others up to their same level. Where if we can get a room full of kids that are committed and compelled, we're going to win. We're going to win championships. We're going to win in the weight room. We're going to win in the classroom. We're going to win in life. All right, so today's goal. I'm going to walk you through some processes in designing a year-round athletic development program. Explore different ways to approach exercise selection. Explore different ways to approach set load intensity. And provide examples of what we do at Mallard Creek. And that's where your phone's going to be really, really important. Where there's going to be QR codes galore. You scan it, it belongs to you. So here are our steps. Step 1, annual planning. Step 2, exercise selection and organization. Step 3, set and rep schemes. Number 4, speed and agility integration. And 5, class scheduling. We're going to walk through everything and kind of give you at least how we've done it at Mallard Creek the past 2 or so years. So annual planning, what is that? What does that word mean? It's simply a method of planning our athletic development year-round. And we start with the end in mind. So everybody in this room, what do you want to be doing in December? Championship, right? So ladies in Virginia, y'all go to Liberty or 3A or 4A, right? UVA? Liberty. And then Maryland, where do y'all go? Any Maryland folks in here? Annapolis. So at some point, your goal is to be playing at some college place, playing for a ring, right? And so we want to start with that in mind. I want my kids to be the absolute strongest, absolute fastest in December. No, nobody cares how strong your kids are in August. I want to make sure when it's December, hey, we can go out to, at least North Carolina, we're going to play at NC State, Carolina, or Wake Forest. So if we're going to these places, I want to make sure we roll up. Hey, we look the part. We show up. Hey, that's Mallard Creek. And when you feel us, when my kids put their hands on you, or you want to catch a ball, you know that you're in the game. And so we configure a plan to help them reach their peak when it matters the most. We work backwards, and things that we have to account for. Like you look at your school schedule, holiday breaks. Did any of y'all get a fall break at y'all schools? I know some schools in Georgia, they get fall breaks, stuff like that. We get random days off for whatever reason, like election days and things like that, and Labor Day. That affects training. Half days. For some reason, Charlotte loves a good old half day, where kids get out at 12, whatever, and I can't get a hold of them until 2 o'clock. A lot of times if they leave, they ain't coming back for a while. A lot of our kids don't drive. Assemblies, especially beginning of the year. We got that guidance council. Want to have an assembly about registration cards and things like that. We got to talk to the kids about making sure they have their classes for the next semester, but it's December. Mess like that. And then teacher work days. So if you have your school calendar for whatever district you're part of, like understanding when those things are and then planning around it. And so to see an annual plan in live action, you scan this code, you'll see our annual plan, and it's a live document. So as soon as you scan it and I make changes, you're going to see it on the spot. You're going to see how we've built everything up towards state championship. Now, you may not be able to see it right now because I have to go in and give you access, but you'll have access before, definitely before lunch. Just have that saved up, and yeah, some of y'all are doing it right now. There's email right there. So Make sure you put in your email so that I can give you access. So that kind of gives you a big idea of how we plan year round. Next thing, number 2, is exercise selection and how we organize everything together. So here at Mallard Creek, we utilize what's called the tier system. Is anybody ever familiar with a guy named Joe Ken? Do we have any Panthers fans? No Panthers fans? So Joe Ken, he's been coaching for a long, long time. His most recent stop, he was the head strength coach of the Panthers. Before that, he had stops at Louisville, Boise State, Arizona State, and he simply developed a system that allows you to organize daily training with great efficiency and establishes rules. And it's like, from a football standpoint, it's like your practice script or like a play calling sheet. To where, hey, your play calling sheet, do we have any OCs in here? Those that call plays on offense? So your play calling sheet goes, okay, I got my left hash, middle, right hash, my starting drive plays, 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, and you have all your classification in terms of first down and distance, or like, hey, at the bottom you got your shot plays, you got your gadgets, and then what do? You know what goes in there and you plug everything in, and it's a system, correct? Same thing with this. It's a system that allows us to simply plug in exercises to enable flow and great utilization. And the way that this works, we don't do like upper body days. We don't do bench press day. We don't do squat day. We're going to do everything every day. All we do, we simply change the priority for whatever day that it is. So an example would be a session U, which that means, hey, the first thing that we're training is upper body. So obviously, most of us in here, our primary upper body movement is a what? It's some type of bench press, right? Whether it's bench press with bar, dumbbell, incline, whatever it might be. That's the first thing. And then we go to a total body movement, which is anything that requires hamstring or hinge. And then we go into a lower body movement, which is some kind of like something that assists your primary lower body, which is probably your squat, whether you're a back squat, front squat guy, whatever it might be. And then we'll run it back tier 4, which would be upper bodies. What is something that is going to assist bench press? Or maybe it's the opposite. We've already done a press, so now we need to work on the other side. So we did a horizontal press. Maybe it's a vertical pull. Maybe it's a horizontal pull. And then we've actually added movements inside of these tiers. Because y'all know if I know, if you go around and like, hey, Billy, hey, you got bench press 6 sets of 3, go. Little Billy can't handle free time. You can't. You got bench press. You need. What am I gonna do? They're gonna act a fool, get in trouble. So we add things within it to make sure. I wouldn't label it as busy work because there's a reason why we plug things in, but to make sure kids are actively engaged. So example of this would be, again, bench press is bougie. I'm using my fancy words. Upper body horizontal press, and we're gonna add an upper body corrective. So maybe we'll do what's called band walks. So we'll get those little mini bands, put them on their forearms, and they'll walk up the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Working on that back, opening up their lower back, and then some kind of a back movement, maybe something a little more direct, like a band pull apart or a face pull. And then if you don't do anything else in your exercises, does anybody here run their weight room? Okay. So my biggest thing would be if anybody runs a weight room, you need to write down what you can do. You need to write down what you can do based on your equipment that you have. So like if you don't have, y'all know what tsunami bars are, the bars that bend. If you ain't got those, don't put them on your list. If you don't have benches that don't go in incline, don't put incline movements. And the most important thing, and y'all are a very smart bunch, but like if you can't teach it, don't put it on your list. Don't depend on talking little Jimmy over there about how to do a certain movement if you can't do it yourself, or at least you can't talk somebody through how to do it. That's what causes issues. That's what causes injuries. So I've broken all of our stuff down, total body movements, and that's for me That's like deadlift. You might be a barbell guy. I'm a trap bar deadlift guy. Cleans, hand clean, power clean, and any sort of variation of that movement. Lower body movements, that's tons of them. So back squat, front squat, do it to a box, and then we'll break it down into like really specific. So back squat, in really bougie terms, is a in-place double leg movement. A step up is a vertical lower body movement, stepping up onto the box. Vertical, our body is going up. Horizontal, a lunge, my body's moving horizontally. And then bench press, upper body movements, horizontal, bilateral, bilaterals, two arms, curls, flexion. So I try to label things as specifically as I can. So if I need to find something, I want to sub something out, I just go to my library and I just pull and play. Just like, hey, you're sitting on your call sheet. All right, I need a inside zone. I need a counter out of trips. Well, I need a counter out of twins. So you have tons of ways you can do counter out of twins, wherever your sniffer is, all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing. Just being really specific in how you label things, define what you need in case a kid has already reached a certain level of adaptation with a certain movement. More free stuff. This is an example of an entire upper body session. So you'll see kind of how we float everything. It's right here as well, but I'll put it right here. It's going to be tons bigger on your phone. You can zoom in and zoom out. So A1 will be bench press. A2 would be rear delt flies. You're getting 2.5s or 5s, chest down, open and close. A3 would be band face pulls. And then we go to a total body movements. Now we're doing some sort of clean variation. To where, at least for this session, we're doing a 3-position clean. To where there's 3 positions, at least we teach our kids. There's the knee, there's the thigh, there's the hip. Knee, catch it, reset. Thigh, catch it, reset. Hip, catch it, done. Seated box jumps, which is sitting on the box, on another box, and then dead bugs, which are laying on my back, like a dead bug in a hotel. Hopefully not this hotel, but like a Motel 6. Feet up here, right arm extends, left leg extends, and so forth. Then we'll go into our lower body stuff. So I need an assistance exercise, so that's a dumbbell, rear foot elevated split squat. We did quads, so I need something for the hamstring, barbell, RDL, then the hanging leg raise, have that pull-up bar, knees up, knees down. And then we'll run it back to an upper body movement. We're doing Z press, which is just really, just a seated overhead press. They're sitting on their butt, plate, barbell, whatever. Press the plate up, press the plate down. Band good mornings. Step on here like you're wearing a chain. Hinge up, and then single arm dumbbell shrugs. So when we do our tempo, goes right into this. We use a program called Team Builder. Now, I have Team Builder because I have over 13, 14 sports that we manage. But I have 2 TVs in the weight room, and the kids know what to do, when to do it based on this timer. So normally, I set the timer at 90 seconds. So in this example, and in this picture, hey, you have 90 seconds to do 1 set of bench press, which was set 1 is 5, 8 rear delt flies, 15 face pulls. Now I got 90 kids in my first block class. So it's, hey, you got 90, you got to go. So we're rotating fast. It's a smaller class, probably less time. So it's nice things to do that. And then as the screen changes, the boxes just move over. Set 2, set 3, set 4, set 5. What's up? Do you have them superset it? Yeah. Perfect world, they're doing it in order. So they're going from bench press to rear delt fly to face pull to spotting somebody. Mm-hmm. What's up?
Say for a smaller gym like ours, we have a pretty small gym, but we have like 20 people in there and not a lot of bench. Would you recommend that having, if there's not enough equipment, they bounce over to rear delt fly and continue working and then end up back at
Yeah.
square one.
So like if we get into a bind with equipment's an issue, hey, look, let's get it in. Like obviously the priority is this movement here, but obviously, kids take a long time changing plays. They're sitting there trying to figure out how to put on 135 on the bar, stuff like that. Hey, we just need to make sure we're getting all three of these things in the 90 seconds. Now they know that there's some sort of like punishment if your rack is not ready to go for set two. Maybe maybe not punishment. There's going to be a reminder of why we need to move at a certain pace. And like, there's no excuse. I have two TVs. How many reps do we have? What are we doing? And then the only thing that we add, we have percentage sheets on the racks where I will write out set one. Well, this example, set 1, 2, 3 of bench press will just be regular sets of bench press. And this, at least in this picture, we're doing triphasic training, which means it's kind of doing things in parts. So the eccentric part, the going down, the pause, and then going up. And so I'll have everything planned out. And hey, set 4, 5, and 6 is a 6-second eccentric going down. And all I do is look at the sheet. And we have other sheets on the walls that are loading sheets. Where hey, I need 190. Well, how do I put on 190 on the bar? Oh, it's 45, 25 and a half. A lot of systems in place to make sure there's no confusion with what's going on and how we need to do it. That was sort of a program called Team Builder. There's other programs that have superior timers, but at least from a programming standpoint and pushing workouts out to kids, Team Builder is a no-brainer. Maybe some of you have heard of Rack Coach. So I think Rack Coach has a tremendously superior timer. So that's what you're looking for. I would go with Rack Coach. But I don't like the programming aspect of Rack Coach and how to like plug in maxes and things like that. That's where I really, really love Team Builder. This is how an entire week would look like if we trained 3 days a week. We call this a 3x3 tiered template. So you'll see our total body day, which will be deadlift, squat mechanics, toes, squat, arms up, and then isolateral plate raise, box jump, Zercher squats, dead bugs, overhead press, band TKEs, lower body day, squat, hurdle walks, floor press, bent over row, band, overhead squat, trap bar jumps, V sit-ups. Then upper body, we just kind of went over an example of that. That's if you're, one school, I can only see them 3 days a week. If you have more, the 4x3 setup. To where now I've simply just made 2 total body days. So one day we are trap bar focused, and the other day we are Olympic movement focused. By all means, you're going to get a coach. You're going to get this entire presentation. So at the end, have your phone ready. But at the end, there's going to be a QR code you can scan. It's all yours. That's what anybody who just walked in. There's codes all over this thing. So you have your phone out, and then everything that I have is essentially yours. We talked about how we set up exercises and how we order them. So now we got to talk about sets and reps. Like how do we do load and intensity based on where we are in the season? And we're just going to walk through some different ways of setting up sets and reps. Traditionally, more than just hey, we're going to do 5x5. Ain't nothing wrong with 5x5, but there are other ways that you can train than just doing 5x5 or doing things to failure. So the first thing is what's called APRE, which is just a really bougie word for auto-regulated resistance, progressive resistance exercise. And it's all based off certain qualities of strength. So APRE 10, that's working off a kid's 70%. That's in a perfect world, I can do that weight 10 times. So we're training endurance. And the way that it works, it's really, really simple. Of this number, that's our 10 rep max. They're going to hit 50% of it for 5, 76% of it for 5. That's the warm-ups. And then they're going to put on that 10 rep max for set 3, and they're going to leave it. And we give them a little bit of wiggle room. Hey, look, in my head, I need 8 to 12 reps. Now, you tell a kid they're going to do 8 to 12 reps, how many are they going to do? They're going to do 8. So I put 12. If they don't get 12, it's going to be all right. But if they're between 10 and 12, I'm going to be fine. But they don't see this chart. All they do, if we run back to this screen, all they're going to see is 5, 5, 12. And again, if they can't do it, it's okay. Because set 4 and 5 are simple drop sets of that weight. So if it's me and these 3 guys training together, the only thing that we have to do is simply take my weight off and put his weight on. Take his weight off, put his weight on. And it's the same weight for set 3, set 4, and set 5. And all you're doing, hey, you did 12. What's 12 minus 2? 12 minus 2. 10. Woo. 12 minus, so it's 10. So now, go do 10. All right, you're supposed to do 10, but you only did 8. Last set, you got how many? It's that easy. And then, using this chart that I have, and another reason why I love Team Builder is that when the kids put the stuff in on their phones after class, Team Builder will automatically update their max every single session. Now, if you don't have Team Builder, you can do it on your own. So if little Billy, he hit his 10 rep max 12 times, I'm going to bump his max up 10 pounds. If it's upper body lift, I may only do like 5. And you'll just see how this chart works for all that stuff. He only did like 10. If he did 11, it only goes up 5. If he's not able to do it those 10 times, if he only did it 8 times, and then the next time, I'm trimming your max by 10. So that way you're accounting for tons of things that happen in your kid's school day. Maybe that one day the kid's in school, hey, that girl smiled at me. He can be strong as hell that day. He can be feeling good. That bar is moving. And the other day, oh, that girl broke up with him. Something small like that. Or hey, something's going on at the house. Hey, they didn't get to sleep that night. So this accounts for all those daily stressors that might happen in their life. You had your hand up. We will max out twice a semester. So and honestly, it's the midterm and the final. We really don't like max out like 1 rep max. We'll do 3 rep maxes. Because I don't have that. I have 90 kids. I don't have that kind of time to be having little Billy chasing a 1 rep max and then get stapled by 150. And then at one school, we didn't max out at all. I was blessed to have some other bougie gadgets that allowed me to test a little bit differently. I just have the bare necessities at Mallard Creek. So we'll just do a 3 rep max on bench, squat, deadlift. And we'll get a 1 rep max on cleans, but cleans will take nowhere near as long as a barbell back squat or a bench or things like that. Not important at all. Because that max is only good for that day. Like they're not going to put a squat rack in the end zone. So I mean, now there's something like South Carolina, they compete in like strength meets. It might be a little important. Like for us, I mean, I was training power lifters. I mean, yes, maybe, but our goal is to get to December, right? And sometimes I don't have time to lose an entire class to go chase a bench press max. It just takes too long. And maybe like your situation, how many of y'all train your kids after school? How long you get? You get an hour? Well, you're blessed. Anybody else? Hour 15? I get 30.
Whoa.
Like the kids I don't have in class, they get 30 minutes after school. So I ain't got time to like, yeah, we got to go. It's in and out. And now, obviously, the goal is to get everybody in class. Just give me the last part of this presentation. But sometimes you just can't get them in class. They're like high academic type kids. They got AP this, honors this, and it's just not going to work. So sometimes we just don't even worry about it. And we'll have a training max for them. I'm not going to stop and all right, we're going to spend the next 30 minutes maxing out when they could be training and getting ready for something else. That's kind of how APRE works, and there's different qualities. So I say this is endurance, this would be strength, strength power, and absolute power. And then you would just pick wherever you are in your season or whatever qualities you need, you would train those specific qualities for that. the next kind of thing, this is more percentage based. Anybody heard of the Juggernaut method? There's a book, and then when you get the presentation, these links are live. So you just mash the link, it'll take you to an article, which takes you straight to the site. But it's kind of the same thing. So kind of the same thing with 10s, 8s, but now it's 5s and 3s. Endurance, strength power, and absolute power. But now we're doing straight percentages, and the last set is always a plus set. But there's rules attached to those plus sets. So for this week, which is accumulation, where we're, as the name says, we're accumulating reps under this weight, I want to leave 2 to 3 reps in the tank. So we're not going to failure. And I want you to go until you feel like you can't do 2 or 3 no more. Week 2, we're intensifying what we're doing. So it's going from 60 to 67.5. Hey, leave 1 or 2 reps left in the tank. And then the last week, the third week is realization. And this is kind of how I've avoided maxing out. Because every 4 weeks, you're going to test. To where this is a 10 rep max in a perfect world, where if you can bench your 75% 11 times, I'm going to increase your max by 2.5 pounds. So for every rep over the standard, lower body movements is 5 pounds per rep over the standard. Upper body movements is 2.5 pounds for every rep over the standard. And then the fourth week would always be a deload at that weight. We will not change their max in terms of what they're working off until we run it back to this accumulation week. And so again, we have 10, which is endurance, 8s, which is kind of like strength, 5, which is strength power, and 3, which is absolute power. And that's kind of what we're on right now. I'm trying to roll them through this. 5-3-1. Are there any powerlifters in here? Or folks that train powerlifting world? So 5-3-1 is come from the powerlifting world. So this is kind of, hey, I need strength. My kids need kind of a thing. Again, we have more plus sets. So week 1, we're hitting those 5s, 65 for 5, 75 for 5, 85, 5 plus. Week 2, 70, 80, 90 for 3, with the last one being 3 plus. 75, 85, 95. We're hitting that 95 1 plus. And then that is where I'm adjusting their max based on how many times they do that 95%. And then obviously there's a deload from here. And this is kind of what we'll do in the summer. How many weeks do y'all get in the summer up here in Virginia? About 6. So like we have, how many day weeks do y'all have? You have 4th of July and then what? When is y'all's coaching clinic? The VHSL clinic. So like we have two dead weeks. So in North Carolina we have the 4th of July one, and we go for a week, and then we're off again. And then everybody's got to go to like how y'all got to go for the VHSL clinic. We all got to go to Greensboro, go stand in line, get our coaching card, all that mess. So really I have 5 weeks, 6 weeks maybe. And so we're just trying to maintain the mass that we put on during the school year. So this is kind of where at one of my previous schools, Northwest Cabarrus, I had a lot of like bougie things. I had a principal who was a former Division I tennis player at Tennessee. And so he cared a lot about what we did in the weight room and never really told me no. So has anybody in here heard of velocity-based training? And so so pretty much it's simply, instead of worrying about percentages, now we're worried about speed. Now we can translate those speeds into those qualities that we've been talking about. So anything between 0.8 and 1.1 is endurance, strength speed. 0.45 to 0.75 is accelerative strength. 0.35, 0.45 is submax strength. Then 0.15 to 0.35 is that absolute strength. And it looks just like this setup, kind of the same thing, to where set 1 is a warm-up, set 2 is a warm-up. At least for our kids, I will tell them, hey, I don't care what weight you pick. I need it to go between 0.45 and 0.75. Go. And then they would pick the weight, and as long as they were in that range, they can put on whatever they want. And then based on certain devices that you have, it will recommend load for them to put on. But I turned this into a video game for our kids. Like, hey, I don't want you to work with what's on your bar, but can you move your weight as fast as you possibly can? And then from there, just again, it's just the drop sets of 2. And if you're in that range, you can add weight. Now, if you're below that range, what do you got to do? You got to take weight off. Take weight off to make sure you're in the range of that speed. And then at the end, we would do extra work to where I would have a pre-programmed weight for them to do, and we're doing plus 2 reps of whatever set 3 was. Kind of add a little bit more volume and stuff. And there's tons of devices out there. I've used systems called a node, which is a little itty bitty magnet, looks like that big, and goes in the bar like a refrigerator magnet, and then an accelerometer. There's ones that are string based, to where you put the string on the bar and it kind of runs through a box, and it measures speed based on how fast the string leaves the box. There's things called V-True, GymAware. And if you got like that, there's cameras where if your school really loves you, you can put cameras on your racks, and essentially it captures your speed within frames. But I ain't got that kind of money. Maybe you do, I don't. That's how we gamify training. And then when we were at a 3A school in North Carolina, and we weren't blessed with athletic talent, but I think by us doing this, we were able to squeeze as much juice out of them as we could. My kid may not be stronger than you, but my kid can get in your chest faster than somebody else. So I think that's what allowed us to be tremendously successful when we had velocity-based training. We recently did a lot of triphasic training, and you kind of see based on where I've been, like what were my go-tos. The reason why we went to triphasic at Mallard Creek is I needed a system that did not require tremendous weight change in our program. And then there's an article up here about triphasic training. You scan that code, and I needed to find a way. Again, I told you I had 90 kids first block. I needed to find a way to make every second they spent at the rack meaningful before they had to rotate out for the next kid to go in. So in terms of triphasic, we're going to break things down into each part of the movement. So again, using a bench press as an example. So the going down portion is called the eccentric part. To where like your body's contracting, lowering the weight. And so we will train just the eccentric part for 3 weeks. And so set 1 and set 2, we're always the one. We're doing regular sets of bench press, getting after doing our thing. And then the last 4 sets, they're putting it on 75%, they're leaving it on, and they have a 6-second eccentric on bench press. And like they're counting slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then partner help. That's going to be the biggest thing. Spotters are really, really important, to where that spotter is essentially grabbing off their chest and letting them go again. To where if you were to like time how long a regular, like an untimed workout takes, with this, they spend the same amount of time under the bar. I'm just getting it done in 3 reps. So I don't have time to be sitting there doing 10 sets of whatever. Then as we go throughout the weeks, either that we increase the percentage a little bit or we decrease the time. And there's a little cheat sheet about, based upon what weight am I doing, what should the time look like in regards to the reps and the sets. Once we address the eccentric part of the lift, now we'll move on into the isometric part, where that is just the point, if we can bench press as our example, coming to where that bar touches our chest. Now, you probably spend a lot of time with high school boys telling the bar must do what? Touch your shirt, touch your chest, right? For these 2 weeks, I don't want it to. I don't want you to do that little YMCA float, but now you're going to hold it for 5 seconds. Now, you're going to go as fast as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, punch. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, punch. And then we'll do the same thing with squat. We'll do the same thing with hex bar deadlift. They'll go up here and they'll drop to where those plates are like that far off the ground and having to hold and maintain that position. Again, accumulating time underneath the bar to get the same desired effect as opposed to doing 6 reps, 7 reps. And again, a cheat sheet in regards to how you assign time, how you assign reps and sets based upon the weight that you want them to do. We only do that for 2 weeks. And then after that, you go into a concentric phase, which is all the stuff we just went over. So concentric means, hey, leash is off, let's go get it. So we talked about annual planning. We've talked about how you figure out when we do this and when we do that. We talked about sets and reps. So now we talk about how do we plug in speed and agility into what we do. Again, I'm a systems guy. For the longest time, like I said, I coached football for 10 years. I was hey, go make the run cards on huddle. Hey, we need to figure out what adjustments do we need to make to counter versus a bear front. We need you to make the JV itinerary game day. Hey, what uniform stuff on Friday. So I had to have a system in place to make sure things were so easy on me that I didn't cheat my kids. So what we would do, at least from a summer standpoint, we do an assessment called DWMA, which is short for Dynamic Warm-Up Movement Assessment. Now, for us, it's a movement assessment that allows us to see what kids can or cannot do. To the kids, it's an OD warm-up, to where they're doing like things that, well, it's a really jacked up warm-up. But I'm just trying to see simple things as we go. If you scan this code, it takes you to an app on your phone to where you can see every movement that's in the assessment, and you can see how to do it. And then at least how I use it, I'm able to do a global assessment on almost 40 to 45 kids in a 10 to 15 minute warm-up. And they'll do simple things as an inchworm, downward dog. So obviously we know how to do inchworms, right? But now we're adding a little bit of yoga into it. Backside goes up, doing a downward dog. Simple things like Frankenstein walks, knee ups, quad table reach. So all those things we're evaluating: ankle flexibility, quad strength, hip mobility, thoracic mobility, things like that. To where if there's a really glaring issue, I can address it with that kid and find ways to fix that to make sure he's ready to go on Friday. Along with DWMA, we use what's called a dynamic movement prep from a guy named Micah Kurtz. He's at Windermere Prep in Orlando. Before that, he was at AC Flora in South Carolina. So you scan this code, take you to his site in terms of how he teaches the warm-up. And this warm-up is long and extensive. My warm-ups take around 15 to 20 minutes. I want the warm-up to be the most difficult thing possible, because I need their bodies to be warm, I need their bodies to be ready. And then also, maybe did anybody train their kids during the school day? How many football kids do you have in class?
About 25.
And then everybody else is civilians?
Throughout the whole day?
Yes.
From alternating watch to like 90.
So how many kids in your class don't play a sport?
Not many.
Not many. So at least unfortunately for me, I have a lot of NPCs, NARPs in my class. A lot of ERWs, kids that just eat, ride, and warm up. So I make the warm up difficult, especially if it was that first week. Hey, look, this is what we do in class. If you're not about this life, you may want to talk to your counselor and go to like underwater basket weaving or go to team sports or pottery or something like that. But this warm up, it allows us to address everything that needs to be addressed. And then for the kids, I will teach them certain parts of the warm-up, and they lead that warm-up during practice. And then I'm lucky I have an assistant coach. He's in our EC department, but he wants to be a strength coach as well, where he'll lead the warm-up practice as well. and we'll run through the entire thing. And we do the same warm up on game day. So we look really silly out there. We're not doing the whole big circle, 1,001, 1,002, clap, spread them. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. If I go to your school and I see you doing that, I already know I already won. Like if you're doing static stretching, oh, it's over. It's gonna be a track meet, and my kid's gonna win. So we do fast things. So we need to make sure the warm up we do fast things as well. Now, in terms of teaching basic speed mechanics, another free thing. There's a guy in Florida at the King's Academy. His name is Jeremy Evans. He uses what's called a progressive speed system. So he breaks down speed and agility into 3 categories: acceleration, shuffle, lateral mechanics, and then crossover mechanics. And in each 3 of those phases, we break it into technical. So from an acceleration standpoint, that's your A walks, your A skips. Shuffle would be lateral march. All that is technical. Things that, hey, we're doing this, go. Pre-programmed, we're taking the skills that they learn in the technical phase, and now we're applying it into some type of drill. So if we're doing acceleration, that could be falling sprints. So they're all on the line, tippy toes, fall forward, right foot strikes out. They're going for 10 or so yards. I mean, that's like a partner chase game. Hey, it's you and me. You're on your stomach. You're facing that way. I'm on my stomach. As soon as you get up, I got to go get you. So things that, like, there's a predetermined beginning and there's a predetermined end. Random would be, if someone's like back there and there's a cone right here, he's going to run to the cone. I break down to the cone with him, and then he has a choice where he can go that way, that way. I have to react and use everything that I've learned and apply it accordingly. That would be a random exercise. You don't know what the end result is. Again, this is from Jeremy Evans. Scan that code. It takes you to his system. And if you, I can't remember how much it was originally, but you buy it once, it's yours forever. He's got videos and everything up there that make life tons easier. In about 8 minutes, we'll roll through this last little part, talking about scheduling. It doesn't seem like maybe you have issues with scheduling. That's a big issue for me. Trying to get our kids in the class. When I talk to our guidance counselors, I really break it down into why is it important. It frees up time for the sport coach to have time to do their practice. You don't have to worry about, oh, well, Coach Fly needs us for 30 minutes, so we got to start Indy, 30 minutes later. Allows kids to get home earlier by not training during the school day. Maybe some of your kids are like mine. They got to go to work. Hey, you train, you're done at 2:15. You can go take that shit to Bojangles and make some money. You can go to Harris Teeter and push around buggies all day. It's guaranteed A. Like you take my class and you're not a knucklehead, I'm gonna give you an A. It's gonna help your eligibility. Physical activity, it helps academic performance. So there's sometimes like, hey, we want kids first block, and I want you to schedule their hardest class second block. Because they've been active, their brain's going to operate differently for at least those next hour and 2 hours. So if that kid sucks at math, put him in that second block to where his brain is like wired a different way. He can actually learn a little bit better. And then it potentially allows athletes to be instructed by qualified, certified individuals. So we talk this scheduling stuff. What do you got to know? Do we have any magnet programs in here at your school or IB things, AP, and y'all STEM? Those are hurdles you would have to navigate if your school had those things. Like we have magnet programs in Charlotte. We have one for, like, right now it's CTE. So some kids, they can come to Mallard Creek just to do this program. So you have to navigate those issues. State graduation requirements. In North Carolina, our requirements are on what you see on the screen, to where they have to have all these credits of English, math, science, and understanding where you fit. I cannot get a kid until they have taken freshman PE. They can only do freshman PE 1 year. I know growing up in Virginia, it was 2. Is it still 2 years? So you had, freshman and sophomore PE. So I had to figure out where do I fit in that. So weightlifting fits in the elective credits. So that's kind of where I have to operate in terms of programming and scheduling kids. These are matrices that I've created for counselors so that they know, hey, you can only put so many kids in this section or that section. So I found if I do a lot of work myself, there's no way they can mess it up. You'll see how we've done it. 8A, B day, which is alternating days. Maybe y'all call it, yeah, so 8A, B day, 4x4, or maybe you have both in your school. Here's an example of how we kind of really make a program work for a kid, a schedule, excuse me. He's an IB kid, so he's got a lot of like honors classes, high academic type. He's got IB language literature, IB history, IB language Spanish, IB theory of knowledge, IB psychology, IB math, IB sports, exercise, and health science. And so I was able to find the hole to make sure he can get in the class and train during the school day. Another example, this kid, he's a senior football player, track athlete. He's got all his Spanishes, American history. So we were able to find the hole and put him in fourth block that first semester. And then we placed him in advanced PE. But I'll be honest with you, if you're in advanced PE, I'm going to take you anyway. You might have advanced PE, but hey, go check in with coach. Let's go. And it's non-negotiable. And we're blessed to have that culture at our school to where the athlete needs to train and you're in PE, you're not going to spend this next 30 minutes shooting bricks. You're going to come with me. We're going to get it out the way so that way it's done and over with for the day. All right. Timed up well. Free stuff. You ready? So this here is a code to my 6-week triphasic program example. And it should be a PDF. And it takes you from the very beginning all the way to the end going into our concentric phase. We talk about team builder, and that's what we use at Mallard Creek. If you scan this, you'll see our entire 2023 prep, from when we lost in the second round to whoever we lost to, all the way until we lost this year. So everything that we did. And you can see all that. Now, this would require you to make a 14-day team builder account, which will be free for those 14 days. Maybe that can be a conversation. Talk to your AD like, hey, look, this short little guy in DC talk about team builder. Maybe we should jump on it. And if that's you and you think team builder is cool, you give me a call on that number at the beginning. I will give you my entire exercise library. And every program I've ever written, we'll just copy and paste it and put it on yours. Presentation code. So if you scan this code, you're going to get this entire presentation. And like I said, it'll take me a while. I break everything down here. I'll go on my email, find it, and give you access to everything. That's my presentation code. Did everybody get it? I don't want to move on until we get it. I know. Yeah, so this is going to have the entire presentation as you see it right now. All the other codes that are up there as well. We got this one? All right. Some selfish little plugs a little bit. I do remote training and I do remote consultation for teams to where, like, if your school or you know somebody that needs help designing programs, I do that through my side business, Fly Performance and Wellness. And has anybody ever been on CoachTube? It's kind of like YouTube for coaches. I have some courses on CoachTube as well. And they're not very expensive at all. Talking about exercise, progressions, regressions, and I'm going to add some more stuff. And then I'm actually going to put what we're doing today on CoachTube for coaches out there to kind of buy and learn a little bit. And that's my content information. I did this excellent. We got 1 minute left. And we've been answering questions as we've been going through through the presentation. But does anybody have any questions on anything? The only dumb question is the one that you don't ask. I did that good. What's up?
What's some stuff that you do as far as like conditioning to kind of drive that out?
We will do it's called a tribe test. It's a different way of doing conditioning. So they're all here on the goal line down here, and we're only working for about 10, 15 yards. So you and me are partners. You got a cone in your hand. I'm doing my thing. I have 10 seconds. You go from goal line, 10-yard line, and back. And I'll blow a whistle. And wherever I get, you drop a cone. I walk back to the starting spot, 30-second break, do it again. Now I'm trying to beat where that cone was. And that's one way we do competition. Maybe kind of answering your question, but maybe not with conditioning. We test every week on something different. So we'll do flying tens, we'll do vertical jump, we'll do broad jump, we'll do pro agility. And then if you actually look on our social media page, I will put like the top everything of what we do on Wednesdays on social media. I'll tag them in it, and then the next day they're talking the entire time. Like, oh, I jumped 36 inches, you a scrub. And like it's competition. They know like we have a jump mat. That mat comes out, like you see like moods change. Or like the lasers come out, oh, you about to get it today. And so then we have like a 20-mile-per-hour club. Where I just went to the store and got a 20-mile-per-hour sign. If you run 20 miles per hour, you get sound the sign. So I think that's a unique way we do competition instead of like the monotonous, like, well, we're going to do 110s. Like you're going to do 20 110s, and by the fifth one, you're mad because everybody's not trying. So it's where the kids are, man. The kids live on social media. They're Instagram freaks. So anything about the kids, I put on Instagram. For college coaches, I put it on Twitter. And then for mamas and daddies, I put it on Facebook. And then I'll put it on, there's this thing called Parent Square. You know, have Parent Square. It's like parents can subscribe to Parent Square. Teachers put on it. So I put the graphics on Parent Square so that way everybody knows what's going on. And that creates conversation. Hey, I saw you jump 34 inches the other day. Good job, dude. Or like some coaches will stir the pot. Like, hey, why did so-and-so beat you? Just like stirring the pot, stirring, you know what? And then, oh, no. I'm going to show Miss So-and-so next time. I'm going to out-jump so-and-so. That's how we address competition. I appreciate y'all for being here. With anything that you need, I'm here. Phone number, call, text. If any of you are in the Charlotte area at any point, I told at the beginning, does anybody go to the AFCA clinics? So I know that the big AFCA clinics will be in Charlotte this coming up year. If you're in Charlotte, you have an open invitation to come to Mallard Creek. Just make sure you call, and you can be a fly on the wall and see what we do, and we'll take care of you. We got a long rest of our clinic today. Today's a long day, all the way to 10 o'clock. Enjoy yourself. We are so glad that you're here. Anything you need, you find us folks in Nike swag and the bright yellow badges, and we'll take care of you. If there's no questions, appreciate you. Thank you.